right, that is a minute.
The meeting will come to order. We are now holding a meeting for the FFA chapter. Madam Vice President, are all officers at their stations?
I shall call the roll of officers, determine if they're at their stations, and report back to you, Mr. President. The Sentinel.
Stationed by the door.
Your duty is there.
Through the storm, past many friends, the FFA. It is my duty to see if the door is open to our friends at all times that they are welcome. I care for the meeting room and paraphernalia. I strive to keep the room comfortable and I assist the President in maintaining order.
The Reporter.
Stationed by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag covers the United States of America, so I strive to inform people, in order that every man, woman, and child know that the FFA is a national organization, originated from the state of Alaska to the Virgin Islands, from the state of Maine to Hawaii.
The Treasurer.
Stationed at the emblem of Washington.
Your duty is there.
I keep a record of receipts and disbursements, just as Washington kept his own accounts carefully and accurately. I encourage theft of home memos and strive to build up a financial standing through savings and investments. George Washington was better able to serve his country because he was financially independent.
The Secretary.
Stationed by the ear of corn,
Your duty is there.
I keep an accurate record of all meetings and correspond with other secretaries wherever corn is grown and FFA members meet.
The Advisor.
Here by the owl.
Why stationed by the owl?
The owl is a time-honored emblem of knowledge and wisdom. Being one of the rest of you, I'm asked to advise you from time to time as the need arises. I hope that my advice will always be based on true knowledge and ripened with wisdom. Madam Vice President, why do you keep at your station?
The plow is a symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom can accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times in directing the work of our organization. I preside over meetings in the absence of our president, whose place is beneath the rising sun.
Why is the President still stationed?
The rising sun is a token of a new era in agriculture. If we follow the leadership of our president, we shall be led out of the darkness of selfishness and into the glorious sunlight of brotherhood and cooperation. Mr. President, all officers are at their stations.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. The Secretary will call roll members.
There are 7 members and numerous guests present, Mr. President.
Thank you. FFA members, why are we here? To practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and to develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA membership possess. May we accomplish our purposes. I now declare this meeting of the FFA chapter duly open for the transaction of business or attention to any matter which may properly be presented. The meeting room is now open for business. Is there any new business?
Mr. Chairman,
Trent?
I move the Williamsfield FFA chapter hosts a recycling program on the last Saturday of each month in the school shop.
Second.
As I moved and seconded to have the Williamsfield FFA chapter host a recycling program on the last Saturday of each month in the school shop. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Trent?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To all fellow members, I think this is a great idea, seeing that it could get more of our FFA members involved in other activities. I also feel like this will be a great way to help out our community, and I feel like this will be just an overall great experience for our community and our chapter. So I highly encourage you to vote for this motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Hannah?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Fellow full members, I stand for this motion because this would be a great opportunity for our chapter to help out with our community and build a stronger bond together. So I encourage you to vote for this motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Xavier?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I feel this would be a wonderful idea, helping our community, not only helping our community, but having other communities encourage them to doing what is good for this earth. So I encourage you to vote for this motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Jesse?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think this would be a great idea because, like the fellow members have said, we could clean up our community and we could also have more bonding time with our fellow members. So I encourage you to vote for this motion.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Ella?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As previous speakers have said, I think this would be a great idea because it would help our environment, and also we could get a lot of people to help us do this, like our alumni and all our other clubs. So I encourage you to vote for this.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman. Aiden?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Fellow members, I feel like this is a terrible idea, seeing as though our school already has a bunch of recycling bins around major areas, and also our school is a relatively clean school, so I encourage you to vote for this, against this motion.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Trent?
I move to postpone this matter definitely to our July meeting.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to postpone this matter to our July meeting. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Trent?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To all fellow members, I think this would be a great idea, seeing as will give us more time to plan what company we're going to work with and when we're going to start this and which house routes we're going to go through to get the recycling. So I highly encourage you to vote for this motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Xavier?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I feel this would be a better idea, posting it to July, so we can get start in July, get prepared for our next school year, so then our classes can also be involved with this whole thing that we're going to be doing with the recycling. So I encourage you to vote for this motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Anna.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Fellow floor members, I feel this is a much better idea. Postponing this would just give us some more opportunity to start talking about it before the new school year. Because if we started talking about it now, we would only be in school for a few more weeks and we wouldn't have the greatest turnout over the summer. So talking about this in July and getting ready for the new school year would be a much better idea. So I encourage you to vote for this postpone.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Jesse.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think this would be a great idea because if we do this, then we could have more time to plan what we're going to do, and we could show the kids in our school how much we care about the community, and they could start what we're doing. So I encourage you to vote for this motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Aiden.
Thanks, Chairman. Fellow floor members, I rise in favor of this motion. I think that it would be a very idea, seeing as though it'll start next school year, so it'll give us a lot more time to plan our recycling and see where we're going to dump the recycle. And also, it'll just make our school more environmentally friendly, seeing as though we only have a few recycling bins in the major areas and not a bunch everywhere. So I encourage you to vote for this postponement.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Ella.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My fellow board members, as my previous speakers have said, this would be a great idea because the school year is almost over and it would be better to plan it next year. So we can also figure out what company we're going to do the recycling with. And also this gives us more time to discuss where we're going for state convention and officer retreat. So I encourage you to vote for this.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Stating on this, to vote. All in favor of the postponing this to our July meeting, signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All the opposed say no.
No.
Motion fails. We're now about to discuss the main motion to have the Williamsfield FFA chapter host a cycling program on the last Saturday of each month in the school shop. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Hannah.
I move to have a 5-minute recess.
Second.
As a move, second to have a 5-minute recess. Let me remind you, this is not debatable, but it's amendable. Are there any amendments at this time? All in favor of having a 5-minute recess signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All the opposed say no.
No.
Motion fails. We're now back discussing the main motion to have the Williamsfield FFA chapter host a cycling program on the last Saturday of each month in the school shop. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Aiden,
I rise to a parliamentary inquiry.
state your inquiry.
Does a motion require a second? Or
Yes,
can I
it-
turn the lights off?
No, you may not. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Ella?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My fellow board members, I still strive to persuade you to think that this is a great idea because it would help our environment and it would just be a great way to involve our community and trying to make it a better place to live in, and it would get other communities involved and think that our community is a good community. So I encourage you to vote for this.
Mr. Chairman,
Jesse?
I move to amend the main motion by substituting last Saturday of each month for each Friday, each last Friday of each month. If adopted, the motion will be that the Williamsfield FFA host a recycling program on the last Friday of each month in the school shop.
Second.
As we move to second to amend the main motion by substituting the last Saturday of each month for each last Friday. If adopted, the main motion will read that the Williamsfield FFA chapter hosts a recycling program on the last Friday of each month in the school shop. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Xavier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I feel this would be a terrible idea because not only are we in school on Fridays, but we have other things planned on Fridays, like we have clubs on Fridays right after school. So having it on Saturday would be a lot better idea, so I encourage you to vote against it.
Mr. Chairman.
Bella.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My fellow board members, I think this would be a great idea as we do have school, so we could do it right after school. And a lot of people are busy during the weekends, so it'd just be a quick and easy thing that we could do and get done with if it's on a Friday, so I encourage you to vote for this.
Mr. Chairman.
Hannah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Fellow full members, I stand for this amendment because we would already be at school on Friday and it would be much easier and we would get probably a better turnout because we would be able to do it after school and we wouldn't have to worry about people not being able to get rides. In addition, on Saturdays, we usually have lots of sports and other meetings going on, so we might not get a better turnout. So doing it on a Friday night would be a much better idea. So I encourage you to vote for this amendment.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To all fellow learners, I think this is a terrible idea. Seeing it, we already have recycling days on Mondays, so I feel like this will just be taking away from the real recycling company. I feel like on Fridays this will interfere with our other club meetings such as 4-H meetings, so I highly encourage you to vote against this motion.
Mr. Chairman?
Hayden.
Thanks, Chair. Fellow full members, I feel like this is a great amendment. Seeing as though we're already there after school and we probably won't have anything to do, and after school, besides like just play video games or something like that. And we're already there, so we don't need rides. And seeing as though gas is a lot right now, we won't have to spend all of our money on getting rides to the recycling thing. So I encourage you to vote for this amendment.
Mr. Chairman?
Jesse.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think this would be a great idea because if we do it on Friday, then kids don't have to go home and then get changed and everything and then be ready for the weekend. Because usually kids are very, very not available in the weekend. So if we do this on a Friday, then we could have more time to do it right after school. So I encourage you to vote for this motion.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote. All in favor of amending the motion by substituting the last Saturday of each month for each last Friday, signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All the opposed say no.
No.
Motion passes. We're now back to discussing the amended motion to have the Williamsfield FFA chapter host a recycling program on the last Friday of each month in the school shop. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Xavier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me remind you guys that this is a very good idea. Having this, helping our community, and not only helping our community, but helping other communities and encouraging them to do what we are doing to inspire everybody else. So I encourage you to vote for this motion.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, let's proceed to vote. All in favor of the main motion to have the Williamsfield FFA chapter host a recycling program on the last Friday of each month in the school shop, signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All the opposed say no. Motion passes. Madam Secretary, there are any further business which should now be transacted.
I have none, Mr. President.
Does any member know of any new or unfinished business which should now come before this meeting? We are about to adjourn this meeting of the Williamsfield FFA chapter. As we mingle with others, let's be diligent in labor, just in our dealings, courteous to everyone, and above all, honest and fair in the game of life. Fellow members and guests, join me in salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I now declare this meeting adjourned. Please rise for questioning.
Great job, guys. You represented your chapter very well. I'm going to be the one giving your oral questions today. And so we're first going to start with the president. If the entire agenda is completed at a meeting, can the chair adjourn the meeting without a motion and a vote?
No.
Can you explain your answer?
Full member will have to give the motion to adjourn and then they will vote on it.
Okay, and then your second question. What does non-biased mean as it pertains to your job as chair?
Non-biased means that they can't be choosing one side, like they can just see one side of the story the entire time.
Okay, VP, Vice President, if the motion recess passes, what happens to the meeting?
Can you repeat it, please?
I can. If the motion to recess passes, what happens to the meeting?
The meeting takes a break.
Okay. And if the motion to recess fails, what happens to the meeting?
The meeting continues with discussing about the main motion.
Okay. Then we're going to move to Sentinel. Your question. What is the purpose of the subsidiary motion to postpone to a certain time?
To postpone to a certain time is to push the topic off to a later date so you can discuss it later on.
And your second question, how long can a motion be postponed if a chapter holds a regular business meeting every week on the same day?
Could you repeat that question?
I can. How long can a motion be postponed if a chapter holds a regular business meeting every week on the same day?
2 months.
All right, we are going to move to the treasurer. What is a secondary amendment?
A secondary amendment is when it is pending on.
Can you speak up a little bit?
The secondary amendment is when they have to make it not pending.
You're gonna have to say that again, dear. Can you come a little closer? I just can't hear you.
When the motion is pending and you don't want it to be pending.
Okay. And then why don't you stay right there because I have one more question for you. And can you amend a secondary amendment?
Can you repeat the question?
I can. Can you amend a secondary amendment?
No.
Okay. Thank you very much. The secretary. What are the duties and responsibilities of the secretary regarding the agenda for chapter meetings as it's listed in the official FFA manual?
To keep minutes of all meetings and share them out with the other members.
Okay, thank you very much. And the reporter. Is parliamentary inquiry out of order when another member has the floor?
No.
Your second question. Why is no vote required to adopt parliamentary inquiry? And I'm going to say that again. Why is no vote required to adopt a parliamentary inquiry?
Because it's a question for